we go. Istongon Jokayadega. The hand day. Istongon Jokayadega. Did you make it through the night? And all of you, Istongon Jokayadega. Ga. So, all right. That's greeting for good morning, because we don't have good morning. Here we go. Here's a more in-depth. And this is just kind of we kind of use this to a point, it can be used. It says Hishje, and in response, you can say that. Istungo, Chinda. Estongesos means I think I'm fine, literal. Chihijayat, dos. It is good I've seen you. And sometimes we don't see people, and I got a cousin that she lives in OKC. And since I live down this way, only time we see each other is at a funeral. And my uncle used to tell me, not to have family reunions. He used to say funerals is your family reunion. He said, what you don't see, that's your family reunion. And that's the only time. And we were talking at my cousin's, we share a cousin. And she passed back in about 2-3 weeks ago. I remember, I probably told y'all about that. And we seen each other there, and it was like we hadn't seen each other, and I don't know how long. And she said, you know what, this is the only time we see each other is at funerals. And I said, that ain't good. We need to see each other other than this, just funerals. But then it came back to me when my uncle said, funerals are the family reunion. So he said, it's not good to have a family reunion. Our family never had one due to the fact, he said, when somebody dies, that's when the family will get together. And sure enough, that's what happens. And it says, Chihijahitos, Jimio, that's your response. Tihijigat, Hofonis. We haven't seen each other in a long time. Mondos, that's true. Abaldage, dongon folla. How's the family? How's the rest? Dongon follas. They are okay. Jinakta. Okay, now this is a question and answer. This is where your response comes in. Stay. How are you? Dongodos, jinda. See, this is what you can use this, and you can say, how's the family? Okay, greeting to a visitor. That's when somebody comes to your house. And, we've had people come to our house, that's unexpected. And we'll say, Ajibus, come in. Ajibus. Then you say, Legibus, sit down. Or Legibus, have a seat. Either one will work. It's understood. And then, if we always ask them, do you want something to drink? Or would you like to have something to drink? And you tell them, I always try to have something to drink. Tea, Kool-Aid, coffee. And if I don't have coffee, and I know that person drinks coffee, I'll go in there and make a pot of coffee. And even if they don't drink it, that's okay. If they don't want it, that's okay. But I always have something to drink. And I say, have you eaten? And okay, I don't know what that's doing in there, but that just disregard this. And it says, this is when they're leaving. Chihijasis. Hadam thalagache. Now listen to the tongue. Come back again. Hadam thalagache. You're saying you come back again. And the tone in that makes you feel like, okay, I want you to come back again. Hadam thalagache. Let's visit some more. That's how that tone is everything in any, you can't just go in there and say, "Hadam talagachi." That don't mean that. But if you say, "Hadam talagachi," and I could, and there's another expression that's saying, "Hadam chugibatachi." Visit again, chugibatachi. That's one. And this is we say all kinds of things, to make, but homes, like I said, has everything to do with how you're taken. Don't want for less. So somebody says, "About doggy, don't go for la." Hear that? Don't go for la. How's the family? How's the rest? Don't go for less. And then, of course, Chinakta. Chinakta. How about yours? They okay? And sometimes they might not be okay. They'll tell you. Maybe they lost somebody, or somebody was sick. During the pandemic, there was a lot of that. And we couldn't see each other, so telephone was our next best thing. So we would get on the telephone and call each other, and they say, "Well, so and so passed, and I was at that funeral." During that time was the most negative time that I experienced during that pandemic because, like I said, we lost a lot of speakers at that time. And then my cousin, the one that lives close, west here, she said she caught it. And, and then you, Amy, you catching that. That was hard to hear anybody that had that. And it was just like, oh my gosh, you just don't know. And some of them is not okay. This is being on a positive side. This is being on a positive side. But, there is that negative side too, And, my cousin, she lost a daughter and everything. And just here not too long ago, we buried my cousin. And where I seen this girl, we haven't seen each other. And then my uncle lost his daughter, the oldest daughter. And then when that happened, then the tornado hit over there towards Shawnee. And it affected them too. It's not always good, but they'll tell you, they'll tell you. Okay. We're going to do 3-letter syllables, and I'm going to show you why I like to teach you sounds. It's sounds are our language is sounds. And this is proof right here that our language is sounds, because every single 2-letter and 3-letter word sounds that I gave you is right here. Ahogi, doorway. Akhogi. Now listen, this is where the change is right here. Ahogi is doorway. And remember I said ahogi means it's just the opening somewhere in a wall, in a rock, anywhere. If it's got an opening to walk into, it's ahogi. Akhogi, remember? Now listen, ak right here, akhogi is a mud hole or a hole in the ground. Because ok is on top of something, or ok is on top of something, ak is on below. That's how you figure out these things, okay? Akshoki means a hole. Akhasi is a pond. If you look here, akhogi, see, it's all like that's a deep in the ground. Akshofki means a deep hole too. Okay, akhasi is a pond, and it's all in the ground, isn't it? So see, that's where that ak comes in. Ok or okhombida is a table, but it's on top. You eat on top of it. Is that clear to y'all what I'm trying to explain? Okay. A field like a field behind, I got a field behind my house, it's called Jabofa. Jabofa. Look at that. Jabofa. See, learning these sounds. Jabofa. Jabofa. It's in those 2-letter sounds right there. Jafikni. Jafikni means healthy. healthy. Jump, jaga. Okay, right here. There's no silent sounds in the Mvskoke language, but right here is where you hear that. Jump, jump, jump. If you say it, you'll feel it. Sometimes you can't hear it. You gotta feel it. Know where your tongue and everything is. Jump, jump. You hear that? Jump, jaga is a bell. Jibani. Oh, Jibani. Jibani is a gender, a boy gender. Jibani. Jibani. Jibani is more like a name. Like I told y'all before, I named my little grandson, I call him Jibani. But Jibani, see, Jibani is a boy gender. That's like a man is Hunanwa, and that's a gender. This is Jibani is a boy. Juk Saka. Juk Saka. That's a boy. I mean, that's a bridle that goes on a horse, you know, and that's weird, you know. I don't know why we got that, Juk Saka, but look here. Juk is short for Jukwa. It's been cut off, but it's Jukwa right here. So the bridle does go in the mouth, doesn't it? So that's short for Juk Saka. Angry, Jabaki. Ridge, Janaksi. A son, Ipoji. His heart, Ifigi. Remember now, this is part of that pronoun when it says his heart, Ifigi. But what if you're going to say my heart? Jafigi. Remember, Ja belongs to belongs to you, possessive pronoun that you cannot give away, or you can't give it away. It's usually for body parts and family. You cannot give it away. So this is for those personal pronouns, which they're on a previous lesson. This right here, Ipoji is third person. Ja, Ji, and E. That's personal pronouns. Ja is for you, personal, you can't give it away. Ji is talking about somebody else's that they can't get away. E is talking about a third person that can't be given away. Okay. Ifigi, that's where it is. Ifigi, that's like talking to what? Third person.
Third person. Isn't hard.
Yeah, it is hard. We're talking, me and Rebecca's talking about somebody, and I'll say his heart. His heart is good. So we're talking about this third person, but he can't give away his heart, so it has to be a personal pronoun. Inochka. Inochka is like anything, even a shawl, but they add taki to it, like a big shawl, big handkerchief. Nochka thakko, but inochka is a handkerchief. Istemat. Now you can hear that tone when I say, because we don't just say who. We have to say who. Istemat. Imunga. Imunga, always. Imunga. That's like always like imungados. Imungados. He's always crazy. He's always crazy. We say that, you know. Before him, Ihoma. Before him is Ihoma. Behind him is Iyoba. Under him is Elijah. But Homa, we say Homa. Adami Homa, front of the car. Yoba, Adami Yoba, behind the car. Adami Elijah, under the car. See, it don't have to be him, her. It can be under anything, in front of anything, or behind anything. Does that make sense to you? That Homa, Yoba, and Lijah. Homa is front ways, Yoba is behind, and Lijah is under anything. It can be underneath the table. It can be in front of the table. It can be behind the table, or behind a tree, in front of a tree. Can't be under it. But basically, that's how you use those. Igalbi. Gulby, his brain. And the reason why Gulby is the word, Gulby is brain. But when you put the E on there, it's saying what? Third person, his brain, because you can't give your brain away. So that's what this is how this is explained. Food is hombida. Food is hombida. Bad or ugly, holwagi, hol. See, you don't hear the li in that, but if you say it, hol, you hear that in there. Holwagi, you can hear that li in there. A brook or stream, hajoji, hajoji. Clean, hasati. You know, that's one thing my grandma used to tell me, don't ever be dirty. Don't ever be dirty. She said, if there's a pond or a creek, she said, don't ever be dirty. She said, always be clean. And she said, your clothes too. She said, even if you got one set of clothes. She said, if there's a pond or a creek, always be clean. That's what she used to tell us all the time. Always be clean. And you know, I don't know what she meant by that. Sometimes I wonder, you know, and she said, your thinking and your heart's supposed to be clean too. And she used to tell us, don't ever do anything that can be thrown back at you. And I still teach that to my daughters to this day. I said, don't do anything that can be thrown back at you. And I always tell my kids, be humble, be humble, be humble. Asakti, far away, obey ye. But you can add that tone to this and say, it's far, obey ye duties. I'm just saying it's far away. But you can also say, obey ye duties. That means what? Way far off. You know, way off. Like me standing here going to California. Obey duties, California. So that's how you do that. And it's Jaboja always said we've done before, but we don't smell it. There you go. Somebody said Jaboja. Oh, somebody used that good too. Jaboja. Then my grandpa said we might be poor, but we don't have to smell like it. Always be clean. That's what they stressed. And I don't know why, but my grandma was the same way. Always be clean. She said if there's a pond or a creek, don't ever be dirty. You know, it's just something that we live by, I guess, you know. And I think they meant in all kinds of ways, always be clean. So hombida is food. Holwagi is bad or ugly. Hachuji. Remember anything with uji, hachuji, a brook or stream, that's a small river. Hachi is river. Hachuji is small river or stream. And Hobeyi, that's where I was at. Hobeyi, that means real far off. Just using that tone. Hashosha. This was a big thing with my family too, Hashosha. And, you know, I never really understood what they meant by Hashosha. You know, I knew what it was, east. But I never really knew the significance that they put into it until I was older in my late teens. I finally figured it out. And, you know, they really didn't tell you too much. You kind of had to figure it out on your own. So I figured out Hashosha, why it meant so much. Hidodi, ice, snow, or frost. That's what it is. And I want y'all to remember these words. Try to retain these words. Hokdoji is a little girl. Hayakpo. Hayakpi means clear. Hayakpi. That's like in your yard. Hayakpidos. That's like in your yard. It's clean, nothing there. Hayakpi is just clear. Hayakpofa is a prairie. Hayakpo is a prairie because there's nothing on there, is there? It's just like flat ground and just clear. Hobilga Hobilda is a grave. Halbada, alligator. Hojida, to beat corn, and that's in that mortar, you know, that they beat it corn with. That's what that is. Hojida. Hojida is to beat. Huifida. But while I'm doing this, and y'all's learning new words on one thing, but how important sounds are. Look at all these words, that sounds that we went over. There's giving you. Because language is sounds. Gojokni, short, that's in height. Gojokni. Or even it could be dress too. You know, we weren't allowed to wear short dresses. We weren't allowed to wear shorts when my grandma was alive. You know, we weren't allowed to, and you know, maybe back in her day they didn't, you know, they didn't show, because she wore long dresses all the time and long sleeves. But now at home she wore the 3/4 sleeves a lot. But when they went to town, no matter how hot it was, she wore long sleeves and shorts. And you know, I'd like to know what her reaction is right now when she's seen if she went to town and seen some of the people dressed up. I think she's been funny. No telling what she would have said. You know, I don't know what she would have said, but you know, she told us, you know, and like if we did, no, they were walkers or something back then, but they're coming back like the capris and stuff, you know. Maybe that would have worked. I don't know. Konawa is beads. Gashapi means cold, you know, like cold water. We gashapi. You can say things that are cold, gashapi, even for food. Aji gashapidos. Galago gashapidos. The beans are cold, the corn is cold, you know, and they had to go on the stove, but my grandma would have things sitting on the stove to stay warm. And the fire be barely going. But now I tell them, throw it in the microwave. Throw it in the microwave. To break, remember, this is like this now. To break something like a branch, like this, gajida, to break. Okay. Lobaga, slippery elm. Okay, right here. Ispaska. Now we call it spaska. Somebody raised their hand.
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. What you have a question on?
Oh, I can't remember the word now, but it was one that Hayoba. Hayoba means prairie. One thing I've noticed is when there's a and a ye together, the winds up sounding a lot different, at least to me, than what it would like an in front of a ge.
Yeah. Okay. What was you saying? What earlier the word?
I think it was Hayoba, means prairie.
Prayer is migoshopka. Hayoba.
No, there was a word for prairie.
Oh, prairie. Hayakpo. Hayakpo. Let's go back to that. Prairie. Hayakpo. Hayakpo. Right here. Hayakpo.
Oh, Hayakpo. Okay.
Yeah, hayakpo. But look here. See, this can kind of let's see. I'm trying to find. Look here, a field, chabofa.
Well, my question is about when there's an moment ye. It seems like, and I've seen that with songs too. It just seems like when there's an and a ye right after it, that the winds up sounding sort of like I, like hi. Okay, hayapo.
Ayakpo.
Hayakpo. So
Yeah.
the sounds different than it does in other places.
Well,
I mean,
like this one,
that's
it's
true. That's what I'm asking.
so see like the he, ha, ya, bo, ya, bo. That this is short and blunt. Up here, ha, ya, ya. This is long sound, the ah. And this is what a lot of people do, up and the ah. That's kind of confusing. That's even confusing to a speaker. You know, ya, bo, ya, bo. And then, you know, that's where that and is where it's getting you. And that's
When I hear you say it,
ayako.
Halaki,
Say it again. Hadamaga.
when I hear you say it now, Hayakpo,
Uh-huh.
it or Hayakpo,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't, the doesn't sound like a I to me, like an English long I to me, but it often does when I hear speakers say that kind of combination.
Yeah, when you listen to speakers, you know, like I said, I don't even pay attention to how I speak a lot of times. Next time yeah, I'll have to you know, I don't even listen, I'm gonna have to listen, okay? And then I might have an answer and I may not. That's the thing. To stand, we did that. To boil. This is to me, to boil is mosejida. This says hosida. Hosida to me is to bake or but you know, these papers, sometimes you know, everybody's got a different way of saying things. So to boil, Ella, to boil magicha, doing magicha to boil. It's mosejida, ain't it, to boil?
Say it again.
Like to boil, it says hosida. I'd say mosejida.
No, yeah, that one. The second one.
Yeah, mosejida is to boil and hosida is to like bake. To me, I don't. That's how I learned it. But you know, this paper says hosida.
Yeah, the one when I looked it up last night, it was the one you were saying, Mvhayv.
No, mosejida. Yeah,
That's it, Mvhayv.
I figured that. But you know, sometimes you know we make mistakes, and there's no right or wrong. Short, kaduni. Remember that.
Mvhayv. Hadam Margachi, that word you were saying before boil, the other word that you were talking about?
Hosida. Hosida. That's like to bake, hosida.
I thought it was, I thought that meant something like it's time, Odida. It's getting time to,
Okay.
or to what?
Listen.
Odida.
Hosida is to bake, but hosida. Ayuda ofischi. Hosida to begin or to start off. Office magazine, it's time. You know, Allegiska office or what's coming up next? Solidawanita. Or fida, it's oh, while this is hope, okay? Oh,
Okay. Because I was, I'm not, you know, this ear is not hearing real good. So I'm not hearing all the little sounds.
yeah.
And that's why I question.
Yeah, that's okay. Because I told you, you know, go ahead and ask questions. There's no stupid questions. You know, if I can answer them, I'll answer them for you. So there's no stupid questions, and you know, ask. Okay, Ispaska. Ispaska is a brood, but we say Baska. Baska, we leave the is out, you know. Ground, Igana. You know, see all those sounds, Igana. Fruit. Inlukji. Inlukji means that tree's fruit. It belongs to that tree. Inlukji. Handle, imabi. Garden hoe is sliga. The last or the end is spooky. Y'all heard that song, is spooky des homies, discos. That's the last, it may be the last time. It's spooky des homies. You know, that's what I say, it may be the last time. It's spooky des homies. His neck. Okay, now look. His neck. Inokwa. But if I say my neck, what would I say? Janokwa. Okay, now look and see his neck, Inokwa. A pen is stoka. And you know, that's an old word there. We call it isotechka now. A pencil, something to write with. But this one says istoka. That's what they used to call a pen way back. Isatka is a pencil. But satka is like you marking. I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but people are, they'll be having, most people have a stick in their hand, you know, and they would mark on the ground. Go this way, go that way, and you'll get there. That was how they did it. They marked it. It's like on the ground. That's a isaka. A comb, ispoga. Ispoga means that it's something to get rid of something. And I figured a comb back then, they probably like for bugs, you know, but we call it gashka now. Ishkashka. Ishkashka. Falasho to a rib. Indala. Indala. So you could say waga indala. Cow ribs. Chokha indala. Pig ribs. You know, that's, and even your ribs, indala, that's ribs. As long as you got ribs, you can make it to anything. Or chokahata indala, possibly.
Kind of small.
To drink, iskida. Iskida. To die, ilida. A bottle. Now this is glass now. This is a glass bottle. Falasko. We had a man named Falasko that lived in Hannah. I never knew his real name. Falasko. To whistle. Now listen to this. Fort gida. Fort gida. Got the T, your tongue is on top of your palate. But here to blow, there's a difference. To whistle. Fort gida. To blow, forgida. Like that. Forgida is to whistle. My little grandson, he learned how to whistle. You know, I mean, it took him days to learn how to whistle. And now he'll walk around whistling. And you know, if he hears a tune, and that reminds me of my dad. My dad used to sit on the porch sometimes and just whistle. He'd be whistling a tune. Well, he watches Andy Griffin, you know, and there's that whistling, and he'll get on there and he'll just whistle. And you know, we got a self-propelled mower, so he thinks he's mowing. Well, it's all over the place, but we let him mow. And he'll just be whistling. You know, he'll just whistle. So forkido no, and forkida to blow. Beehive, for hodi. Hodi is shelter, but we don't have a word for hive, so we have to say bee shelter. For hodi. To sprinkle, fiskida. And that fiskida is like, I don't know if y'all ever seen it, but you know, way back, and they still do it now at the grounds or at the churches. Now they got hoses to wet the ground down when it got too sandy or too dry. But they would take a bucket of water and go like this. They'd put their hand in there and sprinkle it so it wouldn't be so dry. You know, that wouldn't be so dry. They do the ground. Figapka. That's terrific.
Mvhayv, you were talking about Mvskoke long time ago when before we had steam in the irons. We used to do it like that. Mvskoke. Yeah, I mean, we would get the water like that and then we'd go like that. Where we wanted to, iron, where it was still wrinkled.
Yeah,
know.
that's true. I remember that. Yeah, you just brought up something like, yeah, they used to put the water in there and go like this, sprinkle the clothes, yeah. And then, my mom would, back then they had Pepsi bottles. And she would put water in it and put the lid back on, and the lid had holes in it. So she would sprinkle and then iron, she'd use that. Boy, that brought back memories.
Mahaya, when you're talking about the fiskita with the sprinkling the ground, is that I've never been around that, and because I live in Florida, we have too much rain.
Yeah.
So it's so the dust settles down, or is it?
Yes, just like rain. Like when the dust is really blowing. That hose, they take a bucket of water and they put their hand in there and sprinkle it around like that, and wet the ground so that the dust would settle.
I know. That's just such a unique concept for me because obviously I have too much rain versus not enough. So that thank you for sharing that.
Well, where I live, it gets dry. Sometimes we'll go. In fact, my yard last year was so hot. We didn't have grass in our yard, even when we sprinkled it. I put and now hear this. Way back, they would have took a bucket and did that. We had a hose and put these water things on, and it still didn't do it. We were pure dirt. This year we got grass, and I told my husband, we finally got grass, and he said, yeah, and we're going to try to keep it. But we're getting rain right now, and that's helping it. But a long time ago, they would have had to take that bucket, but who's going to do that now?
Mahaya? Bomyo, yan abogiat, bomyo, grass o sigo doon madis. So, jaboy se mo hagin aleket, she would, sprinkle the yard, oak trees kido and madis, and then hadayafki jaki about mahin. She would go back out and, do it again. She would sprinkle the yard because it was so dusty. One night, there was just no grass anywhere. And so, because we just had weeds and cactus where we lived.
Well, we were a dust bowl. And it shows when we don't have rain in Oklahoma, they call it Dust Bowl, and it is. It shows we don't have rain. And and I saw it in my front yard, and then our yard looked terrible. With that, and my mom used to tell me way back, they had in their homes, they didn't have board floors, they had dirt floors, and they did the same thing in their house. Sprinkle it because they had, but she said after a while it would get so hard that you couldn't tell. Compact it down, they could even sweep it.
I remember my mom said she had to sweep the dirt floor.
Yeah,
But like you said,
it was compacted in, and they had to water that a little bit too to sprinkle it so that maybe it does help. I don't know. And I didn't have to see this, but it's just amazing what my mom and my grandma lived. Hitosi is pretty. Pretty. But that's where that tone comes in. You can say hitosi dos. But if you want to say just gorgeous and beautiful, you say hitosi. Pukti hitosi dos. That girl is just, that's where that tone comes in. Medicine. Hiliswa. See those sounds? Hiliswa. Here it is. A man. That's a gender now. A man, that's a a gender. That is the sex of the man. Onanwa. That's a gender. Please see the moon. Please see run. Lidida. You said legida. You more Jesse. Huh?
Compared to blow.
To blow.
I always learn.
Both get that, yeah. See, this, she brought up something, that to blow on something is both get that. Or blow like a horn, we call it ishbufkida. It's like to blow something with. And that's a good point there, because see, forkida is to whistle, forkida. And see that, forkida, it's like to blow, just blow. But ofkida is to blow on something. Does that make sense? You brought up another word, and that's I never thought of that. That's good. Beehive, full hoodie. Okay, let's go back to rest. Pigapka. You know, my grandma was another one. She was very, she would say, Sunday pigapkanita dundos. Sunday pigapkanita dundos. Sunday is rest day. And she didn't do nothing on Sundays. If you went over there, she'd cook a meal that morning and it stayed on the stove. So that, like, if we went over there, she said, y'all better eat. And everything was warm. It was on the stove. She cooked one hot. And she'd be sitting on the porch. And another thing, she didn't sew on Sundays. And I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
I asked my mom.
Okay, she's got an answer here.
My mom said it was considered work, so
Oh.
she wouldn't let me sew. But I was gonna sew. She said it was considered work, and Sunday was a day of rest.
Yeah. Now, my grandma followed these, followed these things. She'd say, big up kalita nondos, today's rest day. And then she'd say, what did that do? You're not supposed to sew. And we've cut, and you didn't ask questions, it was done, what they said, you did, so that's what it was. Okay, a DC is the moon. Legida is to run. Legida is to sit. Remember now, when it's got the ed at the end, it's to do something. Okay, that's an infinitive verb. New, mojesi. Button, malumha. Malumha. I don't know if this word is ever used, ever. Malum. It's a button. Mahinwa, this is truth. But facha is truth too, facha. But mahinwa is the old word for that. Malega, a patch. That's on the clothing now. Malega. When I got pictures of my brother when he was little, he had patches on his knees on little blue jeans. He might have been 2 or 3, and they didn't throw much away. They had a patch of them. And he had patches on his jeans. And he was sitting there with his little old PF flyers or whatever they were. And he had patches on. And that's what that is. That's also Malega is a patch, on your clothing. Modiza. Modiza, it's a jug, but this is talking about this big old, like a ceramic jug that they kept softy in. And there was a woman that lived in Hannah, and her brother lived together. And she would always have that softy in there. And of course, Creek Nation has summer youth. So when we wouldn't work summer youth, we would go over there and mow her grass, and she'd give us a glass of softy. So that's the place we wanted to go all the time. She had it all the time. So I don't know if she was making it every day, or she made it, but it was always that, always softy. And she'd give it to us when we got there. So, boy, we couldn't wait to get back down there to drink that softy, And they'd say, let's go to her house. She's got softy. Even when we done cut her grass, we'd go over there and check on her just to get softy. Oh, softy. Oh, softy. And that's what they put it in. It's more like not, I guess you can consider it a jug. I don't know.
Does it taper at the top?
It's just, no, it don't
Just like a
taper
cylinder.
enough, and it's just like a,
Cylinder.
yeah, cylinder, you're right. Mahida, to grow. See, to grow to me is hondida, hondida. But here, mahida is to like get tall. But like I
It's got
said,
long
this
hands.
is, this, no, right or wrong on this, mahida is like, it can be to grow like tall, I guess. Nogufti, rounded or gobler, that's like your fizz. Nogufti. And Nogusi is a bear. Nuksongi is horse, like your throat. They'll say, Tanuksongitos, I'm horse, Nuksokcha is a pelican, and Nokwa, this Nuk is short for Nokwa, and Sokcha means a bag. So this bird is a pelican, so they just, it's a descriptive word,
Yeah.
Nuksokcha. It's actually neck bag. They called it a neck bag. Nojida, to sleep. Nisida, to buy.
Ahaya.
Huh?
We have had a Nokushe Lusty that is
Ooh.
in our coming to near our neighborhood because they're cutting down all the trees here because to build. And so it's been very close in. I didn't know we still had them that close into where we live. And we have a town near us called Narkusi, which obviously is
Yeah, could,
y'all's word.
yeah.
But yeah, I didn't know we still had them here. And I was thinking about that, letting y'all know that, but it was interesting.
Well, you know what, you use that, I don't know if I was listening to bits and pieces, but the way you used it, no, was it lusty? That's the right content, Amy. The correct content. And they've seen bears in our area too. Not where I live, but toward the west, toward east of us, where my husband works at. They said they saw bears out there. People have seen bears.
There's not so much people living.
Yeah,
that way,
then that's by that Eufaula Lake and stuff, so they said they seen them out there too, but I don't know what I'd do if I seen a bear, because that's not something you see every day, in your lifetime, but there was a little old lady, I'm gonna tell y'all a story here. There was a little old lady, she didn't speak English, and she would live like in a one-room home. Her son would build her a home, and maybe it had 2 rooms, but it was like one long house. There was like the room for her bed back here, and then up front was the kitchen. And I think I told this story before. She would always, when you showed up, first thing she did was jump up and run to the stove, and she had a wood stove. She would start it up to heat up food to feed you. And my mom would say, that's all right, we've already eaten, but she'd give us water, we drink water with her. And but anyway, one time we went over there because she sold the osofki lie, the thing that goes in our drink. And she said, I got up early this morning. Older elders then, they got up before daylight. And I don't know why, but she said, I saw a kangaroo out there. And she was scared. She said, I haven't been out there. And she said she was running out of kindling and wood, Well, guess what my mom did? She said, Becky, go out there and gather kindling and get the wood for her. Like, I ain't afraid of a kangaroo, And I felt like, so, she said that was out there early that morning when she looked out her door, so she didn't go out.
Your mom made you.
So my mom said, go gather up wood and bring it to the kitchen, put it in by her stove, and go get kindling. And I thought, well, there's a kangaroo. But she said she's seen it. So in our area, there's some people said they see monkeys and kangaroos. And this was way back when I was younger, when she saw the kangaroo. But I was like, so mom just, I can't box. But anyway, just like you said, things, they used to say things would come back. And of course, they're clearing it out. Where they gonna go? And that's, to me, that's sad. We're taking their home to me, what's naturally theirs,
We were, I was going with my son to pick blackberries and they had cut all that down. And I just cried because I love those wild blackberries and stuff. But that's where that bear would have been living, was where those blackberries were.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's what they eat. Okay, so I'm gonna skip over this. We'll come back to it tomorrow, but what I'm doing, this is what we're gonna go. I want to show y'all this. Okay, remember that start of the day? Starting the day off. Well, some people are asking, okay, what is that? This is word for word. Gulgi is light. Okay, turn on light is like a command. Turn it on. Gulgi, religious. Remember, anything with the C at the end was a command. Religious. If you go back to that lesson, you're going to see all these words in there. I ain't done yet. Dark. Yomuchki. Dos. It is. Gida alegas. Quickly. Lucky. Quickly. Nigias. Move. That is a command. Oa. Water. Ajakne. Pour it in. Aglobus, take a bath. Achas, put it on. Istilisahojetska, socks. Looking quickly. Adihas, put it on, command. Istilisahojetska, socks. Da. How about? Remember that lesson previously now. Oh no. So previously, I'm going to put that back up there like tomorrow, and this is all in there. Okay. Joga, paper. Adiluyas, gather them up. Gather them up, and that's a command. I'll say, Adiluyas, gather it up. Well, me and my grandson went round and round the other day. He come, school's out. He's at home. And my husband, told him pick up the papers because he said, "Ooh," and just threw up his papers. He was happy, when he come in the house. And I said, Adiloyas, gather them up. And he was like, and he said, I'm tired. He just laid down. I said, Joga, Adiloyas. Look here, Joga Adiloyas, because he just comes walking in the house and just so happy and just like throwing his graduation hat up. He just threw the papers up. And I had a time with him. And I'm like, Joga Adiloyas. And he was like, okay, I'm tired though. I'm tired. And but yet he got out there and he told his Boja, his grandpa, he said, start that lawnmower up. I said, you ain't doing nothing until you get in here and get these papers up. And I was speaking English, I said, you're not gonna go do nothing.
Maybe you speak English.
Yeah. And then he said, Grandma, can I have pop? No. No. Okay.
Mahaya, another way, like we used to be told, if my grandma or my mom, one of them said, "Labijajasje," "Labijajasje," that meant you better do it right now. And
hurry and do it, yeah. You want to, these kids nowadays, they try to make excuses,
So looking didn't always work. It was always "Labijajas."
Yeah.
When they would say that, boy, we would be moving before she got to the end of that word.
Okay, but this is one word that I heard, and I'm still trying to translate it. They say "Lap koshadi." Lap koshadi, and I don't know. been working on that word and I can't figure it out. Lapkoshadi. I know lup means maybe short for lucky, but lapkoshadi. And that really meant, when they said that word, boy, you better move and be big-eyed and start, you know.
I won't tell you I won't tell you the whole translation, but hanga majuzwa stewing jabawan jayi jinajayat swashmarganwan. So stewing magide Dijarian Bonagan Marganwala, Jayaga Sketchanwan, and so Ibovan Monai and Moeshibo that I believe you know, stuck with you know what, and said, Grandma, how do you tell him he better shut up? And I said, Lapkuzan Jayagas. And so Hadam, you know, I think he just you know, I'm so what I think he just Nagin Maktok Grandma Magin. It's Kimet Nagi Dan Mona, you know what? And I'll be legend, you know, I mean Auntie Banat Mo, I'll be legend, you know, and more as I'm not going to say it because I don't really talk like that. My daughter does, but I don't. But anyway, but yeah, that so I told her that. I said, just said, because that's what they used to say to us. They would tell us Sayagas, and if we didn't, you know, and if they had to come back with that look goes on Sayagas, you know, that's when that mouth just clamped shut.
Yeah, I did, because when they said that word, man, you got big-eyed and you knew they were talking business now, you know. You know, me and my brother, you know, we were little and, you know, of course, our dad died when we were 7, but, you know, he used to, if we needed it, he would spank us, you know. And one time, he was going to spank us and he said, look, what I did. And, you know, boy, we took out that house because, you know, he meant business, you know, that day. And anyway, we had a ladder against the house. Me and my brother climbed it. He was running around the house looking for us and we was on the roof watching him. If he ever knew that we was on that roof, watching him, because we thought we were smart. We were just up there looking for us, you know. It was on that roof. And, you know, we did things like that, you know. Everybody. We was watching him just going around the house and going here and there looking for us. Because, you know, he said that word, we climbed that ladder. That's not funny.
I did something. I think I was 2 and my mom, she said something like that. And I climbed onto the refrigerator, was sitting there. So she was running around the house looking for me. And the only way she found me is every time she'd run by, I'd start giggling.
We did not giggle. We just sat there and kind of looked down at him, watching him go.
She's like, how did you get up there?
How about da? Remember? Da? How about ma da? How about that? Remember? Ma is that. Ma da? How about that? Okay. Shoes is still a bacon. Put it on. Adihas. That's anything like shoes or putting something in a bag or putting something into something. Adihas. So you're telling them, put them shoes on your feet or put your feet into that shoe. So listen, istilibega. It's got that's kind of where your adihas. Okay, yoga. Okay, adihas, put it in. Adihte. Duas, do it. Mish duas, do it. Command. Dogna is short for dognawa. Dognawa is money, but we say dogna. Okay. Shelter is hoodie, like full hoodie. We can't say full juggle. We can't say house. So we have to call it shelter, and shelter is hoodie. Okay, but a house is triple, but we can't say bee house. Can they say that in English? Bee house? Yeah, they can.
You just
Yeah, I just said it. Bee house. So they call it a bee house, but we can't say it in Muskogee, say full, triple. We have to say full, 40. Bee shelter, a bee shelter. Now, that's strange. Now look, I just learned something myself. So that's, shelter is 40. So that's like for a bear or something that takes shelter. So anyway, we can't say that. So anyway, look here, it's already Hasiskit Kahamgat. Olibidos. But we'll go back over the beginning, start of the day, and we'll go back over this Bakshi. Okay? Oh no, Bakshi I said. Day after tomorrow. We'll go over that. And I hope this is going to help y'all with the sounds and doing it like this. Because it's word for word, It takes a little bit of time, but you know what? I think, like right here, I just learned something myself. So, see, I'm learning too. Like I said, I'm not I just know what I've been speaking all my life, and I just learned something. So, y'all guys, take care. And in Wednesday, in Hayatgat, the morning of Jijagatas, I will see y'all. Aha, hello, everybody.
Madam Tiati, Mado.
Mado, Cassandra. Mado.